Alright guys, we'll keep it short and to the point. When you guys see this, you got today and tomorrow to win the Ranger. Go and get your stuff going at ellisnasty.com. We got a bunch of merch up there. We got double entry on some stuff. Hey, screw it. Triple entry on the entire store. Top to bottom, left to right, front to back. The entire store is triple entry, so get what you want before it's over. Your chance to win the Turbo Ellis Swap Ranger ends in 2 days. Alright guys, welcome back to another video here on the John Doc YouTube channel. We got Turbo John in the building. John, say what's up.
What's up, guys?
If you guys aren't following his channel, you need to go over there. Do I have any videos of me gapping you? I think every video I got, I'm getting gapped.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
And what he does,
what
he does is he always has these wastegate issues where they get stuck and he gaps me.
I swear,
but
you don't believe me at all. That is legit the truth. 100%.
We'll save that for another video, okay? So what we got is we got the bad apple. What am I? You got me all so confused. We got the black sheep behind us, and you guys haven't seen this car for a little while, so I was getting the paint correction done to it, and the paint looks absolutely awesome. I mean, it's literally like a mirror. I mean, look at that. Our boy Johnny absolutely hooked it up, so it's looking good. We just got to get the front end done, and then we are good because we brought him the car without the front end. So Johnny, you guys can hit him up. I'll link his YouTube. I'll link his Instagram on the channel here, and you guys can hit him up for all your detailing needs. What we got going on today is we actually ended up taking this off, which is our crank sensor. So we run a HOLLEY cam sensor and a HOLLEY crank sensor, and it's very important to have the timing verified. And that's why I brought a specialist over here, John, because you do great instructional videos. You do great. Your videos are so informative.
I appreciate it.
You're like the more professional side. Like, I know nothing. I am just enough to be dangerous, and you do the great instructional videos. So I figured we'll have a special guest, which is you, and you could tell everyone at home why we do this, why it's important. You're a HOLLEY guy, so you know what's going on here. Why would someone have to verify timing?
So the first thing is, I'm not a specialist, but I appreciate the compliment anyway. I'm a backyard hack that has learned a few things, and I'm knocking stuff off of this. I don't even know what it was.
The razor is. It's better off.
It's better off down there than being sucked into turbo. So yeah, so verifying timing, very important. The reason why is when you have the computer set up, you're inputting a number. You say 30 degrees, 15 degrees. Say you got this black sheep at 55 pounds of boost. Mm-hmm. Is that about accurate?
60 pounds.
What's up, Wes?
How's it going?
So this thing's banging at 60 pounds of boost, and you've got about 10 degrees of timing in it.
Yep.
Ish.
That's what we have in the computer.
Right, that's what's in the computer.
So we're commanding 10 degrees.
That's right, it's commanding 10 degrees. And if you don't verify this, you assume that it's 10 degrees.
Yeah.
But if you don't verify it, you don't know. It could be 12 degrees, or it could be even catastrophic, it could be 18 degrees. Now what's going to happen? If the timing is low, it's just very low performing, it's slow, it's going to be a turtle. Everybody's been going, kicking you in the teeth going, man, this thing is a turtle, why is it so slow?
Then you add a bunch of timing to make it up, and then they're like, man, what are you running? You're like, I got 70 degrees in this thing.
Right. And then everybody blows their stuff up because they were trying to be like Black Sheep and John Doc, and then suddenly it's like, whoa, what happened? And so the opposite is of course true as well. So if it's too high, you're going to burn it up. Something's going to happen. We all know the plugs are the secret in the chamber. Y'all pull plugs a ton.
Yep.
Everybody's getting used to pulling plugs, and you know, a lot of turbo cars used to, I heard it all the time. I mean, I was carbureted forever, and I pulled plugs like a nitrous racer. And other turbo cars, they were like, oh man, I don't pull plugs at all. I've got the plugs in it from the beginning of the year.
Like, that's how I am on my street car stuff, which is like super conservative, not making a bunch of power. But this obviously is, I mean, you have to. At this level, you have to.
That's right. You pull the plugs. And that's the secret in the chamber. That's telling you, that's the only thing in there that's telling you for sure what your air fuel mixture is and what your timing is. So we got to verify it and know. And that way you can creep up on the timing. So it's pretty simple. So this thing, you know, when this is all set up, the timing pointer probably has not moved, but you always want to make sure you verify top dead center. So there's a couple ways you can do it. The easiest way to do it is with the head off. You want to pull the head off real fast?
No.
Okay. I was just wondering. I was just wondering.
Well, we got Wes here. You trying to pull a head off?
Hey man, we can do it fast. We just did Randy's the other day at the track.
Is that innuendo for something?
So that's the easiest way to do it. You put a piston stop on it. It's a bar that goes across the top of the piston, and then you screw down a little jack nut in it, and then you roll the motor. You roll it forward and then roll it backwards, and dead in the middle of those two is where your top dead center is.
And top dead center is when the piston is all the way up in the stroke.
That's right. And you have to be careful though. Some people, I've seen old school, I've done it this way, some people will stick like something in the chamber and watch the piston come up.
Yep.
And then it'll push it out. And that's fairly accurate. You get it pretty close. But you have something called a dwell. The piston comes up and it doesn't automatically come back down.
Yep.
It hangs out at top dead center.
So it's not it is up in its stroke for more than 1 degree.
That's right. So it comes up and hangs out for a minute and then goes down as the crank goes by and the rod goes. So, but you got to check it. So basically, you put a piston stop, so it's about 5 to 10 degrees down, and then you check it, you roll it over, and it'll be on, like, say, if we rolled it over, it would stop at 5 degrees here. And then you roll the motor backwards, of course, by hand. In your setup, you would do it by on the flex plate. So you roll it backwards, and then it would be 5 degrees on the other side. Now you know top dead center is perfect here. So you can verify it with this too. That makes screw-in piston stops. It screws in where the spark plug goes, and it's basically got a jack nut in that. You can make them too. I've made them before.
Yeah, I think you were making one the other day.
The shade tree trick is using the pick and rolling it until the pick stops moving, marking it, and then keep going. And when it starts to move again, then you take the 2 marks, split them, and see where you're at.
That's right. You can get it really close doing that.
I feel like you can get it between, like, probably within 2.5 degrees or so.
Right. So you can get it pretty close.
Sometimes it works.
Right.
Here's my favorite scenario of all time. Let's say Wes checks his timing and verifies his timing. He knows his timing's right. And let's say John doesn't. Well, John's is 5 degrees shy. So he's like, well, I got 23 degrees in this thing, and it is on a rail. And Wes is over here, he's thinking, I know John's running faster than I am, and I got 16 in mine, and the spark plug's showing hot, but he's got 23 in his.
Let me try it.
In reality, his only has 18.
Yep. That's what we were just saying that.
He's like 21.
And I feel like
boom, melts ahead.
I feel like the LS, because I mean, before in hot rodding and racing, anything, you had to verify timing. The timing light was a necessity. And I feel like the LS, I'm not talking shit on my LS guys, but I feel like the LS kind of ruined that because you go off of the cam sensor and you go off the 24 or 58 tooth and you don't verify timing. There's nothing to verify. It's all done internally.
But you still need to do it. Even when you have an LS motor. So we know that you don't have a keyway generally on the front of it. So you have to make it. So basically you get it up there close to top dead center, and you can use a piece of welding rod, you can use anything.
Coat hanger.
Coat hanger, it doesn't matter. I mean anything. Basically you would just come off of here and bend it out and fashion it, make yourself a line, and it doesn't matter where it's at. A lot of people get confused and they go, well, I gotta have it in a certain place. It doesn't matter. As long as you can easily see it and easily read it, that's all that's going to matter. And then you do the same thing we were just talking about. You find top dead center. Now, in order to do that, though, you're going to have, hopefully you got HOLLEY. And then you'll have a timing light that is going to be able to go to 0. And then you put it on 0, or either just normal, or you put the 0 in the software, and then you just shoot it, and then you're able to see what it's doing. So, yeah, you can absolutely. Because I remember back in the day, too, when LS motors first got started, people were talking about the crank trigger, the crank wheel was moving. And then it would advance the time and retard it.
And we've had that happen to one of ours. Now all of our reluctors and everything get welded on.
Right, that's right. So, I mean, LS stuff I don't know anything
That's the big tip. You can still set up a custom ignition and tell it you have a 58 tooth and a stock cam, stock crank, custom, and you can adjust it depending on what that tells you.
That's right. And that's what, even on my small block Chevrolet, my Gen 1 small block Chevrolet, I've got a 58-2 wheel on it, and it's a great big, it's like 8 inches, it looks like a saw blade. It would not be good to get caught up in that thing if it's running. So you kind of have to be a little careful when it's running. But yeah, so timing is super important, and verifying it, it might be something that you need to even verify several times a year. But definitely, like you said earlier, if you're pulling it apart, if you're pulling stuff off, and you're putting it back together, then for sure, I mean, you need to verify. 100%. So it's pretty easy. So you've already got top dead center found here. So what we'll do is we'll go into the HOLLEY software, and we can do it a couple different ways. If it's pretty close and it'll start, then you can go ahead and just do that pretty easy. If you think it's going to be off, then you can do put it into start tune, and you can just click it with the timing light. Make sure when it's in your start, the software, where if you got it on 20 degrees or 25, you can verify it.
And it should fire right up because we did have it in there and everything all set up. So I mean, it should be hopefully perfect scenario. But that's why we're checking in case something's off, in case we have to make an adjustment. It's why it's very important to do that. And I like to say, this is just me personally. I think when I put the damn HOLLEY, when I go away from the 58 to the 24 tooth, it leaves the LS world and it becomes a small block Chevrolet.
Right. And it does. And what's funny is my small block Chevrolet has went into the LS world with the 58X, because yours has only got 4 magnets. Now Randy's has got the 36-1.
Is that's the one that goes right on, that has like the...
Yep, it's got all the reluctors. It's got, I guess it's 35 teeth and it's missing one.
Okay.
And, you know, that's nice. It's easy.
Yeah.
And they say the resolution is better. You know, the more teeth you have on it, the better resolution you get.
There's a bunch of different options for crank pickup. So just because you see us running this stuff out here, the Holley stuff with the flying magnets, you don't have to run that. That's an MSD Holley thing, right? Or like ATI makes them that are even built into the balancer.
That's right, yeah.
So there's a million ways you can do this, but we just run the Holley stuff. That's what we've been running. We've run on the Hemi, we run on this. It seems to work quite well. We run it on the Bad Apple, pretty much anything that has an external crank pickup.
One of the great things about the flying magnet is you can have a little bit wider gap on the sensor.
Yep.
Whereas, you know, mine, the 58X and the 36-1, you have to kind of shrink the gap down some. So that could become a problem if you get some run out on the crank or if you start getting some flex.
I've had issues with that on aftermarket blocks with utilizing the start sensor. Right. Like some of them hit the start button, no RPM signal.
Right.
Or some of them are hitting and you gotta shim them out.
Yeah, it's
got to be so perfect.
These things are so funny, and it's fun though. I'm enjoying the way you got this thing set up though.
Yeah, so we're one of the few people, I'd like to say maybe possibly the only people that are running a Holley sensor in the stock cover, because the Holley sensor is set to run off of a like a Brazzel belt drive. Right. So we have configured a way where it screws in, and we actually have the magnetic screw in the cam gear. So I mean, everything, it seems to work well. Haven't had any issues with it. We hope, fingers crossed, we don't have any. And yeah, so
the other thing we have to look at when we're doing it is inductive delay.
Okay.
I mean, you know, looking at that, and that's real easy on there. You set it, and you know, you set your base timing. We'll show you. I mean, how to do that. Show them how to do it. And then once you get it pretty close there, then you start revving the motor. And the natural tendency of the timing, because everything is speeding up, is for the timing to retard some typically. And so you put that inductive delay in it, and you just keep jacking that number up until it doesn't retard anymore. And then it's rock solid at even high RPM. So
that's what we don't want it to be pulling timing as we're going up in RPM.
That's right, because if you don't check that, if you put it on 0 inductive delay, then most likely you'll have 30 degrees at 1,000, 1,200 RPM, but at 8,500 RPM, which is what this hydraulic monster is going to be turning, I mean, it could have 4 or 5 degrees less time.
And the John West scenario from earlier will ensue.
Yes.
It's like, this seems kind of cold. and then it's hot in the middle of the pass at 4,500 to 5,000, but it's 5,000 and above.
It's right where it needs to be.
That's right. And the problem is I mean, that spark plug, it's only telling you the hottest time. It's not it can't put the cadmium back on the plug.
Right.
So I mean, you know, it's going to show you the hottest time wherever that is in the cycle. Well, like you said, early or even early in the run, getting up on the trans brake, if you've got it too hot in there, trying to spool it, which I have done.
You have a lot of experience, huh?
I have a lot of blown up parts.
All right. Well, I guess I think everything on the car should be ready. Logan, we got fuel in it?
Yeah, I just checked it.
All right. You get it ready to hang the throttle or what? That's a loaded question, isn't it?
Are y'all using the brake pin?
No, we're back to Shell Rotella.
We're charging.
That damn 88 millimeter turbo is screaming.
Ooh, that stuff's rough.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
All right. Well, now that we're out here in the fresh air,
Logan's still trapped in. When I went from 30 to 28, it was
You got it, Logan. Right.
All right, so now that it's quiet,
Yep.
what all did you do there with the timing light, and what did you do in the computer?
I set the static timing to 30, and he's relayed to me the message that he was seeing 32. So then I went to 28, and then he said spot on 30, and then I think he's checked the inductive delay.
Yeah. So with what he's got to do now, he's got to pull the computer back up, and basically there's a time and offset in there. He's just gonna put -2 in there, and then the timing is right. And we revved it. How high did we rev it? 3,800, 4,000.
I think it was about 4,000.
It was maybe retarding like a half a degree, so the inductive delay is right. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's not moving at all. So is the ignition on? Yes.
Ignition is on, yes.
Okay. So in here, so this is. Let me show you where he was at. So when you come in here, we may have lost it. So once you're in the live screen here, over here in this little sync arrow, you pull this up and it says enable static timing check. And so what this does, this is what's going to enable you to verify the timing. There it goes. So right now you got it on set, 28. So when the car is running, you basically just hit set, and then that's going to go, whatever this number is, should be on the balancer. So he had it on 30, and that's what he was saying. I saw 32 on it, so he dropped this down to 28. So when he dropped this down to 28, I saw 30.
And that's what, like, the base.
That's the base timing. Well, it's not really the base. It's not in the table.
That's just what you're targeting.
Yes, that's what we're targeting, just so we can make sure.
So this is literally a tool, just to confirm.
That's right. This is all this is a tool to make sure that we are actually what's on the computer is what we're seeing on the balancer. Back in the old days when we had, you know, the carbureted cars, I mean, you shot it with it and you turned the distributor. And
okay.
so that's how you did it. I mean, you know.
That's you're changing timing
that's
like
right,
that.
You're changing the timing with the distributor. We're changing it electronically, and that's all we're doing here. So now we're going to go in. So you go offline, you hit your ignition parameter. You have to go into custom here. And then so there's the inductive delay. It's already on 65. So this is what we were doing when we were revving it. So this one's already been set in the past. Ben's already done it. But if it was retarding timing, then you would go up higher. So you would go up to 75 or 85 or 95. It would just depend on what it was doing. So over here, one pulse, one fire. Cam sensor is here. See, yours is a little different than mine. So ignition reference angle. This is what we've got to change. Ben. So the ignition reference angle is on 58, so we want to retard it. Does that mean you put it on 60 or do you put it on 56?
I think 60.
Okay.
I always get it wrong.
I do too every time. That's the reason I'm asking. See, when you're using, like on Randy's, the 36-1 or my 58,
yep.
It's got another little box, and basically you just put -2 or +2.
Okay.
So
ours, we're actually telling it where the sensor is.
Right.
We got to change that.
That's right. So we're gonna go up to 60.
Yeah,
and then we're going.
We took ours, we verified that mark was truly top dead center, and then we rolled it back to 60 degrees before top dead center and tried to align the magnet as close to that pickup.
And that's for our cam pickup.
Yeah, and you can play with rising or falling a little bit if you're like half a degree off, and it'll pick up when it first trips it, or after it trips it as it trails away. That would be falling.
Yeah, digital rising and digital falling make a huge difference. Okay, and you always have to it's got the warning on there, but you have to cycle the ignition so that it sets. So there are certain things you have to do that. Okay, so we just need to do that all again.
So this is the part that I guess is verifying. You make a change, you have to do it again. Now, you don't just make one change and you're like, all right, let's hit the track.
No, that's right.
You make a change, you see what it does in the computer, see if the computer and the engine are happy, matching, and then go from there.
That's right. So we're setting it to 30, so we got it on 30 again. So it should crank up, be on 30 degrees. We'll verify it with the timing light.
Perfect.
And if it's not,
then we'll go the other way with it.
Because neither one of us could remember we played that.
First time? Look at you guys guessing right. You're like, which way do we go? Like this way? You broke the streak. You said you never get it the first try.
The mental note. If we need it to retard, we need to add. So it's opposite.
Yeah. When you're advancing the timing, you're really starting it sooner. So you're going backward.
Well, cool. So now you've got perfectly phased, 100% static timing.
Everything should be spot on.
We have another one.
Yeah, that timing light just.
It's the same timing light, but it's just not screwed up.
It messed up when Logan took it off, apparently. He must have.
Well, and that wraps it up. That's verifying timing. So now the ECU and the engine are on the same page. They're communicating the proper amount of timing. All right, y'all, wrapping up here, everything checked out. John, thank you for coming by and doing a little instructional. If you guys don't follow Turbo John, you're doing a bunch of no prep stuff now. You're doing a bunch of racing. What you got coming up?
So 252 list race is coming up next Thursday. So we're doing that, getting my butt kicked. I'm trying to kick butt. I just put slicks on my car. It's a little different, but it's working out pretty good.
I will say, all your racing videos are exciting because now he's out there like Tokyo Drift sliding around.
Why do you think I built the drift car?
To get more prepared. Practice. And he's got a drift build as well. So go and check him out. How many subscribers you got now?
We just hit 14,000.
14,000?
Dude, no kid.
Dude, very good. If you guys aren't checking him out, aren't watching his videos, his link will be the first link in the description below. Check him out. Go and give him a follow, give him a subscribe. You even got an Instagram. I see you trying on Instagram. I see you on Instagram. Go and hit him up. Watch his stuff. Black Sheep's come back. We're going testing Friday at VMP. Logan, you excited?
Hell yeah.
Ben, you excited?
Yeah.
Wes is coming with us. We're in for a real treat. We got Wes coming with us on a Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget, we got that Ranger giveaway going on right now, so go down and get you some merch, and we'll see you guys in tomorrow's upload.